Hi everyone and welcome to episode 7 of JMC Jams. I got a bit confused last time. I wasn't sure whether it was 6 or 7. We're on 7 now. It's because we're doing so many of these, which is just amazing. So many great things happening in the school. Today we've got, I don't even know how to begin to explain it, but we've got an amazing donation for the advertising program, which is just gold, absolute advertising gold. With me today in JMC Jams, we have Bruce Woodward, who is an alumni of our program from way back when, in the early 70s. And part of what Bruce is going to be giving to the school is this collection of 16mm reels, commercials from brands that are no longer with us. Some are still the big name brands. Some were like local legend from advertising agencies across California in the 60s and 70s. He's given these to us. We're going to talk about what they are, why they matter, and what we're going to do with them. So before we go into the actual content of these reels, I want to introduce you to Bruce and say hi. Thank you for coming, Bruce, and tell us a bit about yourself.
So my name is Bruce Woodward. I graduated from San Jose State in 1975 with a degree in advertising. At the time, the professor the ad professor was pretty much going to toss away a bunch of 30 and 60-second TV reels and just get rid of them, and I happened to be there, I don't remember how. And I said, well, I'll take them. And I've been dragging them around thinking, well, maybe I could do something with it in time, but I didn't have the wherewithal. So here we are 50 years later, all these great TV spots, companies long gone, some are still around. I thought, well, they should go back to where I got them, and you might call it a gift in kind to the school, who has the wherewithal now to create editing and technology to slice and dice these and maybe create a story that will be meaningful to people. Mm-hmm. Why I did it, I happened to be there. There were a lot of TV things going on at the time, and companies like General Motors, General Electric had trade films that they would make of lots of their components of their company. And I don't know what could be done with this, but it's I think an advertising or marketing conundrum that might be interesting as a slice of life. So as a legacy gift, what can I do? There are lots of gifts of stock, which is important, but this is a gift of the reels and something a little more unusual that could be developed, and I would be curious to see the end product. And I'm just glad to get it back in the name of the school, and go Spartans.
Thanks, Bruce. I mean, I do keep saying that these are gold. There's a piece of, a slice of pop culture history. And I mean, I'm curious, Bruce, you did your advertising program here. Our advertising program has been around a while. Like the school itself, it's got its legacy back in the early days of the 20th century and has evolved and grown from then. And always, we've tried to be on the cutting edge of what's going on within our business. Did you feel that the time that you spent here at San Jose State prepared you to go into the business at the time?
I think more or less when you're 24 years old, you're not clear what you want to do. And, the marketing world in itself is a lot of ways to go. And the advertising component kind of led me to work for a company out of college called Del Monte, a big company in sales, for a couple of years. Then I went to a big, I know what it was, not far from here, Sunset Magazine. Mm-hmm. I was a sales guy in the city, and we had all these parties in Menlo Park with the Lane family, and then another component magazine side of the biz. And then I talked myself, well, I should get in the advertising industry itself. Mm-hmm. Interviewed around in the city. I got hired by Botsford Ketchum, TV, radio, billboards, all this. Won't that be great? And I worked on the A&W fast food account, traveling around to fast food places in the Midwest where they were strong. And then after about a year and a half into this job, the account team lost the account. So they fired us all. Mm. So I was 30 years old, and I said, oh, well. And anyway, I learned from talking to lots of young guys and gals of my age that San Francisco was kind of a finance town. real estate, being a stockbroker, which is what I did. And but the ad game was a big deal at the time with Hal Riney and Y&R and Bruce Campbell, who ended up at Salesforce, being the head of his pitching the business, I think, for Footcone. And I think Mark Benioff, who still runs Salesforce, this is a secondhand story, was kind of rude and didn't pay attention. And Bruce took the team and walked off, said, well, I'm not going to do it. And I think Benioff called him back and said, I'm really sorry, I want you to come back. And he got the business and got to be a stockholder early in Salesforce's life. Anyway, another advertising story, but there's so many spokes to the wheel, a lot of exciting things can happen. So if you're going to get a degree, advertising and all of its components, and at San Jose State's a good place to do it.
Yeah, I believe we are unique on the West Coast.
Yeah.
So I keep being told. So I think that's great. And I think part of these reels for me is that history from like the late 60s, early 70s. That was the golden age of advertising where TV and cinema was really coming into its own, and there were a lot of rising stars who were going to be big movie directors, big advertising people later on, because they were experimenting creatively, sometimes in the basements of these ad agencies, you know. And to see these, I'm just so curious. Some I will have seen, but a lot were just really concentrated within California, yeah?
Well, these reels, I mean, companies that have come and gone, I've never looked at them. I cannot wait to see what you guys do. And Southwest Airlines with the Hullabaloo boots, and Shakey's Pizza, and the California Milk Board. I mean, when you go through this interesting archival material, you'll think they were actually advertising this stuff. And here it is, and so there is a real slice of life. So John, you'll have fun with creating a narrative out of it. So
yeah, and that's the plan, you know, Bruce. I mean, what we want to do, the starting point is to create a documentary, right? Documentary with a little d. So what does that mean? You know, does it mean that we follow a typical narrative, documentary narrative, or do we try and do something that's maybe more engaging, applying technology in fun and creative ways? And I think that's likely where we're going to go. There's going to be elements of film, but also elements of interactive media as well, I think. So it's early days, but we're really excited to be hopefully getting this off the ground, you know?
Well, I hope you'll need a celebrity spokesman, and then I could volunteer.
Well, I think we definitely will have to call you back.
That's very exciting, and I'm glad you're going to be doing it.
Yeah, no, honestly, we really do think it's, you know, these gifts that donors give, of course, are always lots of helpful. We wouldn't have our TV studio or our advertising creative space without them. But these other artifacts are equally valuable, because for us they mean that it keeps us rooted within the history of our own disciplines, and it helps us to kind of learn from not just the media, but from the actual content of those advertising reels, the things that went on before, you know? Mm-hmm. And they're ours. They're here for us to learn from, right? So
one of my job out of school was working for Del Monte, and one of the big advertising / merchandising campaigns was called Mom's a Winner. When they had TV and they had radio and billboards, and I would go in the grocery stores, and they were already selling Del Monte, so it's really more of a merchandising job, promotional. But among the spokesmen for these jingles were two well-known comedians, and I have the record that they would give to the grocery store buyers and owners. It was Tommy Smothers with some humorous jingles of the time in the 70s. And the other comedian we know about is Bill Cosby, who was America's favorite husband in the day. And those two had these amazing Del Monte commercials, which was, you know, all over the place, and interesting sidelight from my schooling here.
Yeah, yeah. And just let's think back to your college days here at San Jose. what are your fondest memories of the time that you spent here?
Well, going to parties, of course, some of it. And my sister lived in San Francisco, so I'd run around up there. I lived in Mountain View when the St. James Infirmary was there, where Peanut Shell's and Castro Street in Mountain View was a nothing street, really, some restaurants and things. And fast forward 50 years with Silicon Valley and technology hubs, Castro Street in Mountain View has the most international ethnicity of every kind of food and shop you could ever want. And so I've always been amazed that how Silicon Valley, which was farming country early on, it wasn't much, has become this haven. And one of my early clients was someone buying real estate long before Silicon Valley, who was a famous football player by the name of Y.A. Tittle. And he ended up buying all this land, and of course, you can imagine what has happened, but he, among other great stories in the Valley, but it's all here in Silicon Valley, and San Jose State is one of the marquee schools, Stanford, San Jose State, a few others. And I am interested to see the Spartans win a little more and stay involved with the school and help others who have gifts in kind. Maybe it's not stock, but could be. But anyway, things that relate to the school and push the message out.
For sure. We can't guarantee that our football team is going to win. I hope they do. But what we can guarantee is that, gifts like these are going to be used for the benefit of our students and as a record, not just of who we are, but what our businesses were and what they will become as well. So you can rest assured there'll be a documentary of some kind to come from this, Bruce. So thank you so much for coming along, for giving us these reels, and just for taking the interest to stay in contact with San Jose State. And I hope that, you're not going to be a stranger now.
And my daughter said, I'm a little bit of a hoarder. Why have you kept all this for so long? I said, well, there's value that I don't know what it is. And here it is. And I bet if they made a list of all these advertisers, wow, I've forgotten all of them. And some of them are going to be interesting to see how they told the story.
Yeah. Well, we're glad that you did hoard these things. Okay, well, thank you so much, Bruce. It's been great chatting to you about, these amazing things. And let's get on eBay and find a projector so we can get the whole ball rolling.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much.